Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Hyper Light Drifter. This is the Drift More New Game Plus Special Extra Bonus Drift Fiesta Combo Value Pack. And we are playing as a weak-wristed little drifter who's only got 2 points of health to his name. And so join us as we drift quickly. Last time when we did this there were some video problems between slowing down and starting up for the quick exploration parts and the slowed down combat, and I've decided the better part of having an hour-long video for this north part drift here would be to just speed up the whole thing, and hopefully you'll still get the general tenor of how this is supposed to go, the general ways in which I do the fights, and while some of the minutiae may be lost, I think overall it'll still be a good effect. If this is extremely offensive to you, please, of course, mention it in the comments, and if you make a good case rather than just hurt my feelings, I might do something about it. So keeping in mind, as we go through this northerly area here, that I'm already pretty, like, I've got a couple more things I want to buy from the shops, but because you start off with all of the dashes and all of the sword moves already, I'm not going to be quite as picky about getting every single piece 08 as I was in the main game. With the flyers there, as before, the trick is to use the gun on them while they're up in the air, rather than when they're swooping at you. Guns can hit them when they're flying, and of course the sword and the gun can hit them while they're swooping at you. It's just a bit easier to only, than not to dodge them or whatever. Of course, we will get to that later, in the later fights. The northerly area, again, is a fine choice for your first area. It doesn't require that you beat an eastern area or anything like that. And I've even known some people who tackled it first and said they were glad to have done so. Just because of the presence of a little bit of harder enemies, I think. I'm glad that I always do, go easterly first. But I don't know that the game, requires that or any such. We're going to be generally getting everything, as I say, in this New Game Plus playthrough. Not all the pieces 08, but all the keys and tablets and such like that. So, you'll see me do basically every challenge that the game has. There's Dude, now with the benefit of having completed the main game, as I have. There's that cool guy. I almost walked by without talking to the cool guy, but no. Couldn't bring myself. Yeah, see, I'm just rich, filthy rich with the balloons there. The Duke seems to represent some kind of idea of death, I guess, or of passage into the heart of things, the heart of this world, maybe. It certainly seemed as if some gross infection, the same perhaps that was infecting you, had infected the world in some way. You wonder if you weren't. I guess I just flat out didn't get that. Okay. You wonder if if the two are connected. If maybe you were one of the wonderful mechanical men involved in that whole southern area hullabaloo, and through hubris of some kind, perhaps through a desire to invade, you yourself got infected. Again, we never really see the Drifter recognize anything. I mean, he certainly seems to recognize the cool guy, which, frankly, who wouldn't? Now, that's something that I want to mention there. You saw me die right there to these robed birdmen. And the problem with New Game Plus, as should be plainly evident, is that you only get 2 bits of health, which is troublesome enough when enemies are doing 1 point of health damage. Oh, I love grenades. Grenades are so great. But when enemies are doing 2 points of health damage per swipe, as with those, and with quite a lot of the bosses, honestly, it's really, you have to have a perfect fight. You have to do perfectly, or you will be struck down. On the other hand, it does actually mean that you get quite a lot of health packs, because usually, if you're going to be hurt by something, you are more likely to have died because of it. Now, bear with me, watch this. Look at that, I murdered all of the Crow cultists, Crow cult, and yet I managed to be brought low in the last one. I've said before that the New Game Plus really isn't the place for you if you're the kind of person that really despises repeating things, because while you're pretty good at this game by this point in time, There are a couple areas like this one, which aren't terrifically problematic in the main game. You can take a couple 2-point shots in the regular game, which cause some trouble, I'll say, in the New Game Plus. One advantage is, for whatever reason, when I played this through the first time, if I saw a big enemy, I tended to give them some space. I guess I was trying to spot, what they were going to do first off, and didn't want to just rush in, and that attitude is completely out the window. If you see a big guy, you run right up to him and you shotgun him in the face. That's how we deal with them types around here. Since we've made the warp point, which is it's probably a third waypoint through the level, I guess, because you've got 2 branches after this, kind of an inverted Y shape, if you will. This is as good a time as any to go back and pick up some more lovely grenades. Oh, grenades are so great. That's all the grenades we'll ever need. Not that all that we'll ever want, but that's all we're getting anyway. And finish up the leveling up of ammo. It's an important thing to consider, and it's always good to have more ammo and such like that. Especially in a mode like this, where you want to be aggressive, and you also want to be able to deal with many threats at the same time, and so you want to keep faraway enemies at bay. There's a couple... I guess I'll pull up that major module next time I go back there. There's a couple real challenge points throughout the run, and honestly, they're all pretty much bosses. And the only one that I had really worried about was the westernmost boss. I'm relatively sure it'll be annoying to beat the final boss, but I know how to beat him. I know how to do a perfect run of him. And the same with the southern bosses. Those are all tough cookies, but they've all got their own particular vulnerabilities. So I imagine from all of them it's just going to be grinding through. But the western boss, he had a pattern that I learned, and I have beaten him on New Game Plus. I have not beaten him on this particular save, so obviously you'll see that for the first time. But yeah, he takes some doing. He's got a lot of dang health. I was looking at the Kickstarter page a little bit ago just to scope out something else I was going to do for the main LP, and you'll see that in the Southern Area retrospective, what I was sort of looking at there. But it was really kind of funny to me to notice how much the game has changed from its Kickstarter background and description there. Like, they had 2 boss reveals that they did during the course of the Kickstarter, and of those, 0 of those bosses made it into the main game. There was like a big hulking guy with an axe that I guess vaguely might have been turned into Toad Boss, and there was a quicker looking dude with a dog, like a hell dog or something like that, and it said he hung out in the Red Key, which also, you may notice, didn't really seem to have made it into the game. So it'd be interesting to talk to the devs. Might put out a feeler. I mean, obviously, odds aren't good for getting to actually talk to one of those guys, but just to see if they wouldn't mind talking about what changed and why. Ugh, total amateur move there. It's like I've never drifted before. So the platforming is not my favorite part of the game, and it could just be because I'm bad at it, but I wonder if there isn't also an element to where defeating an enemy maybe feels a bit more, like I feel better about that than I do getting through a particular puzzle challenge, just because, I don't know, it doesn't feel quite as good to beat interlocking and rotating doors or whatever. I always think there's going to be a secret there. It's my curse. I totally dig that little mummy dude, though. Look at him. Just hanging out and loving life. That's what you want to aim for. Be as happy as that little mummy dude. I remember it? I do. Oh. I guess I never got close enough to see that thing. I do not remember the major module. Don't worry, we'll get it. I'm sure of that. You may remember that there are 2 areas to go in here on the western side of the mountain, and then there's a long path which takes you to the library. And when we go down that, I'll have more to say on it when we actually get there, but you do get to see, the game isn't bug-free, I'll say that. It's pretty good, it's pretty complete, but it's got a few little quibbles that it needed to work out. And, you know, there's a couple things that were promised to people in the game that haven't been delivered on yet, so I'm guessing the development for this thing is ongoing. There were a few things, and again, I'll go into this more in the main game southern area in-depth coverage that were promised for folks in the main game that we just have not seen yet. So if the developers are to live up to all their promises, we will be seeing more content, which is good news for me. I don't have any reason to disbelieve them. But that said, I've been hurt before. I remember the folks from Kentucky Route Zero saying that their expansion was going to be up in the course of a couple months, and then it ends up being like 3 years between each of their updates. I think I was in college when the thing came out for the first time. And now I'm 87 years old and near death. It's a rough life being a Let's Play commentator. Nah, it's a rougher life being a crow cultist, though. Especially when you've got a rogue drifter on the loose. Rogue drifter also sounds like, you know, that you might get one of those sort of cheesy spy novels. I'm here to tell you, though, as somebody who is currently employed in the software security industry. I work in machine intelligence and artificial intelligence for a software security company. Whoever's in charge of, like, naming security type stuff, they read way too many spy novels. There's, like, the Shadow Brokers is literally a thing, and a lot of the bug updates we get are, you know, Tango Alpha or whatever kind of nonsense. So this place can give you some real trouble, if only because, and again, this is the general problem with the New Game Plus. You really have to kind of do everything perfect. Especially when it comes to the crow cultists, because mistakes are not allowed. You really don't know, until you get through the game a bit, how much difference a couple extra hits can make, you know? I mean, every time I fall down this stupid thing, I'm halfway to dead. So, I'm kind of leaving in some of these deaths here just to illustrate what it's like going through this and having to repeat a room a couple times. This room gave me a lot of trouble in the main game too, though, so it could just be a particular challenge that I'm not, like, configured to be good at. Those jumps can be really treacherous, because if you get hit by a rifle shot mid-jump, you can be in trouble. The AI for enemies jumping is not really the best. Like, oftentimes they'll sort of jump off to their death. Boy, does it help if you know where everybody's coming from. And if you ever slice one of those rockets in half, you just feel like the coolest dude with the rudest dude, or whatever. As previously established, I'm super old, so I don't know what the kids are saying these days. There's 4 major modules, enough for us to hallucinate Big Wiggly punching us. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough reaching for a door when you got tentacle birds all over you. That's really a life lesson you can draw from Hyper Light Drifter. Are you reaching for a door? Get rid of your tentacle birds first. Still don't remember that major module slot over there. Oh well. No force can compel me. I think, yeah. I was gonna say I didn't think I went all the way back, because sometimes I forget if there's 2 or 3 places to go in down there. On the southeastern side. I have to go back and make a plumb fool of myself. So here's where we start the game. Just chilling by this fire and that big old, sort of vaguely dog totem, I guess, now that I think about it. Maybe that represents your totemic spirit animal. You wonder if Cool Guy can see Dog too, or if anybody can see him. I mean, he doesn't really show up around others. Anyway, you might remember this is the beginning of the game, and you might further notice that it's giving us instructions like it's the first part of the game. Like we haven't already been through this, and that did not happen, incidentally, when we did this in the main game. We found this place again, and it just, you know, was fine with us doing whatever. It knew that we had already been through here. And of course, we have to go this way and learn about switches as if it was the first time. always get this little vista. You're not required to, but boy, that's a pretty view. This game does scenery and graphics better than just about anyone other I've seen. Anyway, we're sick, we're sad. We go into that gross library. Oh. Ah, that's fine. I think I dashed through it, actually, which I wasn't actually sure that you could do. But sometimes, when you play New Game Plus, normally, I guess what I was expecting to happen is it makes you collapse and go through the whole intro sequence again. But I think I actually dashed through it, and I'd say they patched that out, but I played another New Game Plus, like, yesterday, which was after this was recorded, and I fainted again. So, well, anyway, I guess you didn't see the big deal. But I promise you, it happens sometimes. And when it does, it's super annoying because you faint, the cool guy rescues you, and you have to, like, you know, dash all the way back there, or whatever. But whatever, I'll happily take that. You know, explanatory note, I recorded this, like, maybe a month ago. I've been sitting on a lot of footage. What I'm saying. People know that life gets in the way. Not for Mad Men, of course, but I would never claim such a status for myself. Mad Men are, well, you know who they are. Those are the YouTube people out there who post absurd quantities of videos, and the videos they post are all doing things that no mortal man has any right doing. I think Many a True Nerd is one of those doing his... I would recommend his channel, though. Though he's insane, I find it very entertaining. Doing stuff with the Fallouts. That was a dangerous game I was playing there, playing tennis with those big cultists, because they will deplete your energy bar in a hurry with all of their wheelie projectiles, and then one will just hit you. And on a difficulty like this, you know, you don't want to get hit by things. Scenery can be used to your advantage, though. Really closing in on those. I've only got one more to find in the wild, and the last one, of course, will be behind the crow boss of this area. If all these people hung out after work, would they do it in a crow bar? Ha ha ha. No one knows. Here I am secret hunting, just like old times, because I'm a dummy. I'm pretty sure it is down there, actually. Maybe I'm just not approaching the walls right or something? Who knows? Either way, I had to take a break. Hopefully sometime coming up soon I'll get... oh, that's how you get there. Hopefully sometime coming up soon I'll get a new Lappy, and then recording will go even a bit more smoothly for me. I hope it's never too bad of an experience for you guys, but I know that I have, on occasion, lamented its FPSs. Its FPS. I like seeing all of them there and knowing that if I had deigned to use a grenade, they were only all one grenade away from being exterminated. The game really does use camera in a very clever way, I will say that. I mean, it encloses you and it limits your view of secret areas, but it lets you feel clever when you, you know, quote-unquote outsmart it. Alright, it's Crow Boss time. Everybody's favorite time. Hey, buddy. So, lots of dashes are the order of the day. Not getting too close to him and timing when you get close to him. I mean, because you have like a half-second, you know, delay before his floor nonsense goes off there. Shotgun is a very good weapon against him because it just does so much damage. I generally find if I can do a ton of damage kind of right off the bat, then I don't mind plinking away at him from a distance from later. I'm leaving this open just to show some of the, leaving this in just to show some of the true frustrations you can deal with when fighting a New Game Plus boss. I mean, look at that, it's just, no, just, you get 0 seconds. And I did cut out, I don't think I cut out many of the boss fights in the main game, just because bosses are one of those places where being able to take a few extra hits is impossibly valuable. here. I think I'm starting to get sick of it and experiment with different gun configurations. You do get your gun back enough that you know, doing a lot of plinking is a viable tactic. Just being off by a little bit in any game, basically in anywhere. I don't much like these floor-based big attacks like this. For whatever reason, I'm just bad at not being on a particular place. But, you know, we soldier through. This is, I would have cut out a lot of these if I had done this at regular speed, but for some reason I feel better, I guess, about doing it at high speed. There is the correct use of the grenade, and he was really on his last legs there, but it's easy to get excited. I guess I'll say that later in here. It's never his, you know, when he shoots anything at me that does it, and it's never the birds that get you. It's always those dumb floor things, because again, they do 2 damage, so you cannot ever get hit by them in any amount at all. Pretty feeling bad now. There we go. And it is satisfying as heck to take down a big boss man like that after a fierce battle. Depending on how the Western guy goes, if he is similarly, you know, takes me out a lot. If I die that much, I'd probably leave it into a you know, 2 times run, but if it even gets annoying to watch in 2x speed, I'd take that out. So from here, it's pretty much just all the bonus stuff we have. Yeah, there is that dark area near the very beginning, if you remember, that we have yet to go through. There is this area, which can only be accessed by laser beam. This area is even a little threatening when you have full health, and basically anywhere that threatens you a little bit when you're at full health is going to be what they call a serious drubbing. The real problem I have with this area is that it makes you start again from way, way far back, which I just can't profess to be a fan of. Not to mention the legions and legions of crows you have to fight off are not my idea of a good time. Well, it is actually. I don't mind fighting off legions. If you don't like fighting off legions, you're playing the wrong game, I'll tell you that. So, word from the Kickstarter officially is that the sword we use is hard light. What you might call hyper light is just hard light. And our 2 futuristic gadgets we have are the saber itself, the hyper light sword, and our drifting capability. And apparently in the original game, our little robot there was meant to be further upgradable. He finds some secrets, but I think he was meant to like highlight more the secrets that are out there, possible paths to a light source to light our way, to maybe eventually fight some enemies for us, and just do all kinds of stuff. Thank goodness they don't make you repeat that section if you get bushwhacked in here by these jerks. Interestingly, I'm probably dying about as much as I would have with full health in the main game my first time through. So now you're seeing a bit more of a believable run of Hyper Light Drifter because, you know, you're just taking hits in every battle the first time you play or something like that, which is about right for Bloodborne. And FPS was, you know, kind of just not having it in there for whatever reason. I like that big guy crawling up the mountain. Goodness knows what he was going to do when he got up there, but well, he felt it necessary. There's really no magic to this part. I mean, this is much more about evading blocks than it is about fighting those little black squid guys. That's not really, you know, that's not the challenge. Not to say that you can't get killed by them, especially in New Game Plus mode. I might have even been done in by them once in regular game mode, although I like to think that would be because I entered this area with no health packs or something like that. I know I've lamented this in the main game, but I do wish they'd kept it in where every time you teleport it refills your health packs. I don't know. I don't think it really adds anything to make me scrounge me own. The trick there, of course, as I said when I went through the main game, is having the block push you and not trying to outrun it, which is probably doable, but very, very difficult. And when you could live in complete simplicity and ease. There's no real attacks that do a 360 around you, which I think is fine. It forces you to keep moving in particular directions. You need to be direct in this game. Forward motion is important. Turtling is just generally bad. You're soft and squishy. Oh, apparently there was an idea in the... Yeah, I guess I'll go back and get some. There was apparently an idea in the Kickstarter version of the game that you would have an activatable shield, which would drain your energy, but protect you from all attacks for a while, and if you activated it at the right time, it would reflect attacks. It sounded like a fairly major component of the game, which just flat out didn't make it in. And I think that's for the best. I think this game is at its best when you are just flipping out and dodging everywhere and drifting upon the Hyperlight, and not trying to, just stay in a corner and guard yourself. Honestly, if that happens, then you're probably being attacked by a couple enemies at the same time, and you are not long for this bitter earth, my friend. There we go, there's the 8-module door. We are on final approach for the end of this area. It's not the biggest brawl I've ever seen in this area, although I will say I like it a whole bunch better than I do the Western, the Western bonus area. I might not beat the Western bonus area, at least the part where you have to drift all that much, just because I genuinely don't think it works in one part of it. I'll talk about that more when I get there, but I genuinely think there's part of it that the camera doesn't follow you correctly to drift right, or I would believe it could be my bad computer or something like that, but I just, I do it 10 times, and I do the same thing every 10 times, and one time it does what I'm wanting it to, so. But I'm not that bad. I'm bad, don't get me wrong. More FPS problems there. You just gotta stop recording for a while and it bounces back. That's what a scrub like me has gotta do anyway. And there we can see our little robot buddy still does find us some secrets, so. You're alright, robot buddy. Bunch of jerks. The big guys you never really get used to. They're like the machine gun goblins. There we go. I could have wasted a bunch more shots on them, but elected to do things the thinking man's way. Or the thinking blue robot or something like that. I also note that nobody in the town really seems to have... I mean, they're not given, like, any dialogue, so this would be really hard to parse out, but everybody just goes... But nobody really seems to have any particular racial preference one way or the other. Nobody is afraid to see a blue man, or glad to see one, either way. There doesn't seem to be any. So, it could be, in this relatively post-apocalyptic society, that all the old feelings and prejudices have been abandoned. Maybe people feel like if you got away from whatever catastrophe enveloped the rest of the Earth, then, best of luck to you, I guess. I'd be happy to believe that. Either that or nobody really knows what happened. Maybe it's been, a length of time since it all went down. We're not really sure when this all happened again. The cool guy had a family, I think. Yeah, he did, and they got sick and he didn't. Just a flat-out freeze there. Still, this section is really fun. It's super hard, and can be very frustrating if you do it the wrong way, but you feel like a real drifter, I'll tell you that. that sense. You really need to be just quick on your feet and firing things in the correct way to make that one work. Again, I'm leaving in some of the failures, and if this ends up being super annoying to watch, then don't be afraid to let me know. Kindly, please. My poor feelings. Now, just tell me what you like and what you don't. And I don't know what to do there. The game sometimes does mess up and will teleport you behind blocks that have fallen, or I don't know why it put me there in this case. Maybe I was technically like a pixel closer, you know, to the outside. Goodness only knows. But this is sort of what I meant when I said if you're afraid of doing some repeats, because a big long, I mean, the longer a section is, the more chances there are to mess it up, and the less leeway you have. So like in this section, there's a lot of chances to mess things up, and there's almost no leeway between. I mean, nobody is, well, except for the big guys will do 2 damage on one of their floor attacks if you get hit, you know, real close to them. But other than that, everybody's doing 1 damage, but also everybody is attacking you basically non-stop. So that's just all there is to it. That's looking better. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.